All right, everybody. Just a quick housekeeping things. Feel free to put questions in the chat or the Q&A as they come to you. We'll probably have some opportunities either mid-presentation or at the end to kind of address some of the questions. This is being recorded, and we will be sending this out to everybody that attended with a little bit of a bonus link for some additional stuff that might be useful for you guys. Um, and uh, and I think we'll just get started. I mean, honestly, let's just cut to the chase. I'm gonna cut my video off here for a second, but yeah, let's cut to the chase. I You guys are all busy, right? Your team's overwhelmed. Your inbox probably looks like a crime scene, and somewhere between juggling customers, tech issues, and that one person on your team that still can't seem to find that Zoom link, someone says, "Hey, maybe we should try AI." So here we are. And today I'm going to show you how to actually use AI to grow your business, not confuse it, not to break it, or accidentally train a chat bot to fire your staff. This is about saving time, working smarter, and keeping your business secure without turning you into a programmer, a sci-fi nerd, or someone who says synergy unironically. Sound good? Cool. Let's dive in. And don't worry, there'll be no pop-up quizzes, no robots taking over. Hopefully, just practical, real-world ways to make AI your new favorite coworker. Now, I know what you're thinking. Great, an agenda slide. This is where you pretend to care while scrolling through emails, but not today. This isn't a snooze fest. Here's what we're really going to be doing today. First, I'll bust some AI myths because no, it's not magic, and no, it's not coming for your job unless your job is replying to emails with per my last message. Then we'll hit on productivity and efficiency, aka how do we stop spending your entire day in Outlook and finally win the battle against your calendar? After that, we'll talk sales and growth. How can AI help you get leads, follow up on them, and maybe even look like you know what you're doing on LinkedIn? We'll talk through partnership, how AI can be your non-judgmental 24/7 business coach. And then we'll get a little serious, talk about cybersecurity because AI can help keep your business safe from bad guys and in hoodies and suspicious Dropbox links from Janet in accounting. We'll wrap up with some real next steps, not just theory, but actually things that you can do this week. And yes, there will be live demos because nothing says tech webinar like showing tools that actually work. All right, before you start wondering if I'm really just a lifelike AI voice clone, let me assure you that I am, in fact, human, but not everything you see or hear today will be. I'm Ken Sekun, CEO of North Star Technology Group, where we've been fighting cyber bad guys since before Netflix did anything other than send DVDs. I spent nearly 25 years helping businesses stay secure, sane, and slightly less angry at their technology. And I've seen some things like firewalls that weren't turned on, backups that backed up nothing, and yes, entire companies running their passwords on sticky notes labeled super secret. These days, my job is to make sure that your business runs fast, safe, and smart. And that's where AI comes in. Now, I get it. When most people hear AI, they either panic or picture some robot assistant saying, "I'm sorry, Dave, I can't do that." But AI doesn't have to be scary. It can be your inbox cleaner, your meeting note taker, your marketing assistant, and your late night brainstorming buddy, just without the judgment. So today, my goal is simple: show you how to put AI to work for your business without needing a pure science degree, a robot army, or a second glass of wine. But before we talk about what AI is, it might be useful to talk about what AI is not. Myth number one, AI is magic. No, it's not. If it were magic, my coffee would refill itself, my inbox would delete the phrase just circling back. Number two, AI is self-aware. Listen, if your AI starts asking about its purpose in the universe, you're not on a webinar, you're in a sci-fi film, and I suggest running. Number three, AI is perfect. Of course not. It's learning. And just like that new hire who said that they knew Excel and then merged every cell in the budget sheet, AI is going through a learning phase as we speak. Myth number 4, AI is replacing everyone. Not true. It's not here to replace humans. It's just here to rescue them from repetitive tasks that make them question life choices. And finally, myth number 5, one size fits all. Please, if you've ever tried buying a universal charger, you know how well that works. AI works best when tailored for your business, your needs. Bottom line, AI isn't scary. It's not sci-fi, and it's definitely not perfect. But used right, it is a total game changer. All right, so why should you care about AI? Well, if you're a law firm, you've got associates drowning in emails, paralegals manually formatting Word docs from '03, and clients who expect 24/7 responsiveness, even when it's 2 a.m. and they just remember their cousin's neighbor has a quote, quick legal question. Or maybe you're in healthcare, you're dealing with charting, billing, scheduling, compliance, burnout, more charting, that patient portal that no one can figure out. And oh yeah, more charting. And maybe you're running a small business. You're probably acting as the CEO, the IT guy, the HR department, and maybe that person who knows how to fix your Wi-Fi, all rolled into one. So let's talk about why AI actually matters. Well, it can save you time. Time you can use to bill more hours, see more patients, or finally fix that terrible break room coffee machine. It levels the playing field. You don't need a Fortune 500 budget. AI can make your 3-person firm look like a 35-person powerhouse, minus the payroll. It boosts decisions. You'll spend less time staring at spreadsheets and more time making moves, or at least pretending to, with great-looking dashboards. It protects your business because even the best paralegal, nurse, or office manager can still click a fake DocuSign link that opens the digital gates of hell. It lets you do more with less, like triage emails, draft contracts, or pull together patient summaries without summoning your inner caffeine-fueled octopus. And finally, it gives you a competitive edge. The firm, the practice, or business next door is already testing this stuff. The question is, are they going to outpace you? Or are you going to leave them wondering how you suddenly became so efficient? Bottom line, whether you bill by the hour, work in 15-minute increments, or survive by sheer hustle, AI can help you breathe easier, work smarter, and look like a rock star. Okay, so hopefully now you're convinced that maybe AI might actually be useful and is not just a buzzword invented by tech bros in hoodies. Awesome. But before we go full Terminator meets QuickBooks, let's make this real because AI doesn't live in the cloud. It lives in your office. It lives in your chaos. So instead of rattling off a bunch of technical jargon, I want to introduce you to a few friends. And by friends, I mean totally fictional people who are definitely not real clients I've worked with. First, there's Sarah. She's got like 312 unread emails, half scheduled calendar, and a big memory of someone she was supposed to follow up with last Tuesday. Then there's James, a brilliant business owner who's allergic to CRMs and thinks nurture sequence is something you do with plants. Next up, we've got Lisa. She's the brains of the operation, constantly putting out fires and hasn't had a quiet moment to think strategically since 2019. And finally, meet Eric, who's confident his small firm is too boring to get hacked and whose definition of cybersecurity is yelling, "That looks fishy," across the office. These 4 are about to take us on a journey, a roller coaster of productivity problems, missed sales, strategy breakdowns, and cyber scare moments, all with AI riding shotgun. So buckle up. We're about to fix some things, one hilariously painful, relatable situation at a time. Meet Sarah, the MVP of inbox chaos. Maybe she's like you, starts her day staring down 472 unread emails. Somewhere in there is a client message from last week, probably. Her calendar, book solid, with overlapping meetings, reschedules, and that one recurring check-in no one ever attends. She's trying to follow up with a prospect, but can't remember who, when, or why. And don't even get her started on scheduling meetings. It's like playing Jenga with time slots. But Sarah isn't the problem, the system is. And that's where AI comes in to help her breathe again, reclaim her time, and maybe even eat lunch without answering 17 back-to-back emails. So, how can AI do something about that? Well, let's talk about what happens when AI steps in to Sarah's chaos. First off, her inbox unclogged, finally. It's like a digital drain cleaner for emails she never wanted in the first place. Her calendar, no more back and forth scheduling emails that go, does Tuesday work? No. How about Thursday at 3:17 p.m.? AI handles that. Her meetings, shorter, sharper. No more hour-long status updates that could have been Teams message. Mid-meeting, AI jumps in to take notes, capture action items, and if needed, remind everyone what they said 5 minutes ago. And when it comes to customers and prospects, AI-powered chat and email tools help them feel heard immediately, not after Sarah digs through 42 unread messages. Basically, Sarah goes from chaos to control, and she didn't even have to clone herself to do it. Now, you're probably thinking, cool story, bro, but what's actually doing all that? Great question. Let's look at some of the tools that make this glow up possible. First up, email. Microsoft Copilot and ChatGPT. For those of you that are already running Microsoft products, Office 365, Outlook, email, right? Microsoft Copilot can be an extension of that. It can help you draft responses, summarize email threads, or even remind you what email from 3 days ago is actually about. Because let's be honest, we've all reread the same email 5 times, hoping it makes more sense the sixth. Next, scheduling. Enter Calendly, your new best friend. It eliminates the 37 message back and forth that makes you look super professional while you sip coffee and pretend it was effortless. And then we've got meetings. With Microsoft Teams, AI can take notes, track who promised what, and gently remind you that, yes, you did say you'd handle that by Friday. AI doesn't forget, even though sometimes you wish it would. And these aren't futuristic sci-fi tools. They're available today, and they are everyday lifesavers that take boring tasks off your plate so you can actually do your real job. Let's take a look at this in action.
Microsoft Copilot is one of the most straightforward AI tools to use when working inside Microsoft 365, and it's probably the best one for saving time and keeping your business running efficiently. Today, we're going to walk through how to use it with Outlook. For this example, we've got an Outlook email open here. Up in the top right, you'll notice the Copilot icon. Right up here, you can see we have a little down arrow right here where we could chat with it about certain emails that have came in, different things with our calendar and stuff like that. Today, we're going to be going over the reply and summary just to save time on sending, and email summarizes the entire string, basically proposing a summer employee retreat and then the back and forth between that. We can ask it certain questions about it, but for this, we're going to do a reply. Now, it's going to take the context of the reply, and we can use one of the suggested prompts. So we're just going to use a short and friendly one right here. Click Generate. And very quickly, it generates an email draft for you. If you don't like that email draft, you can say, make it shorter, make it longer, change the tone. Let's change the tone to casual. And then you can also do custom prompts right here to modify the content. For this example, we're just going to keep it. And then you can send an email. Another way you can use Copilot with Outlook is by searching up emails or calendar items on their website, on their web portal, or using their app. For this example, we're just going to look for that email. So we're just going to say, are there any emails about an employee event coming up this year? Very quickly, Copilot is able to find the email and summarize the text string. And then you can ask it certain things, or you can just easily pull up the email right here. Another example would be, let's pull up the calendar. I asked it simply, when is my personal training time this week? At my calendar and gave me all of those items. Those are just a few use cases to save a bunch of time using Copilot. It can also suggest certain calendar times and do a lot of different things with Outlook.
Yeah. So today, for example, a Copilot is a tool that can integrate with several different tools, and we're going to be talking about Microsoft Teams meetings here in a second. That was an example of Copilot in Microsoft Outlook for email. We can also integrate Copilot with productivity suite applications like Word and PowerPoint and Excel to help you do certain tasks within those apps. But what I like about Copilot for Microsoft Outlook is I can go to a lengthy string of emails. Maybe there's 10, 12 different replies back and forth. And I can ask it to summarize what was talked about, what was decided, were there any action items, anything assigned to me. Today I got an email from LinkedIn about a connection request from somebody that I didn't know. I asked Copilot, I say, what is this? Who is this guy? And it goes out to the internet and it finds information about the company that this person worked for. I then asked Copilot, I said, hey, is there anybody that I know that's using this company? And it went through and it took a look at some of our documents, one of which is a document that we're reviewing vendors. And it turns out that this is a vendor that we have had some experience with. And it was in a document between two people that were discussing whether or not we should change some payment information for it. So think of this as the ability to gain information, summarize gobs and gobs and gobs of messaging, and be able to make you so much easier to make decisions on things that you get. But let's talk about a little bit about Microsoft Teams. In this example, we are meeting on that summer retreat idea, right? That we just showed the email strings and basic conversation back and forth about whether or not we're going to have a summer retreat. In this example, Amber, Noah, and myself got together. We were doing a Teams meeting, and during that Teams meeting, my Microsoft Copilot is transcribing this, and it gives us the ability to do so much information gathering during the actual Teams call. In that example, I did, hey, summarize what's been talked about so far. There's a prompt where I could say, give me some follow-up questions that make sense based on what the conversation has been up to this moment. Obviously, it does the basic stuff by summarizing action items and generating all of the meeting notes. But it's so much more. It analyzes conversations and what was discussed, allowing you to, again, be able to take more out of these meetings than normally that you would. We didn't talk specifically about how we could use AI for calendar items, but that QR code that you see over there is our booking link. So we use a tool called Calendly that allows people to schedule time. Primarily, that link I think is for me, but it allows people to schedule time, and it uses AI to know when I have open slots in my calendar. I don't have any back and forth with customers. They're able to gather all this information and find a spot that makes sense for them. But as I mentioned before, Microsoft Copilot is a tool. It's an add-on tool that it's integrated with Microsoft Office 365 and provides an excellent AI capability to manage data within Teams, Outlook, Word, PowerPoint, Excel. Well, let's move on. Let's meet James, right? So James is the silent rainmaker, and the key word here is being silent. James is great at what he does, but he's not a huge fan of CRMs, any type of marketing automation, or anything that involves hashtags. He does know he needs high-value clients, but follow-up, well, it's not happening. Outreach, let's delay that till next quarter. His team means well, but no one's trained in sales, and their lead tracking system is mostly sticky notes and gut feelings. James doesn't need to become a marketer. He just needs some AI help. Tools that can write the outreach, qualify the leads, and follow up while James is doing what he actually loves. Let's take a look at how AI can do that. First, AI can write personalized outreach at scale. That means that James can sound charming and insightful without actually having to type anything. Then it turns stuff that you're already doing, like meetings, blog posts, random thoughts in the shower, into a month's worth of content. And it can qualify leads before you even talk to them. So you're not spending 30 minutes on a call with somebody who thought your law firm meant you handled bird law. AI equals less typing and more closing. Let's take a look at see what some of the tools are that make James a marketing genius. Here's the secret sauce that James happens to use. ChatGPT and Apollo for personalized outreach, because nothing says I care like a message that wasn't copied and pasted. Copy.ai turns one sentence into blog posts, social captions, email blasts. It's basically your marketing intern minus the coffee runs. Microsoft Power Virtual Agents allow you to set up bots that will qualify leads before you waste time. They're like a bouncer for your calendar. And these tools don't just save James time, they save his reputation. Let's see this in action. I don't have an actual video demo of this, right? So I took a screenshot of a ChatGPT conversation I had. So the cool thing about ChatGPT is it's all about the prompting, right? So if you look at this prompt, I said, please take on the persona of the world's most successful marketing manager. And based on what you know about your company, like, well, how does it know about my company? Well, I've been interacting with ChatGPT for various reasons now here for several months. And so ChatGPT, as I mentioned, is learning, right? So it's learning what we do as a business, what are the questions and concerns that I have as a company, what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, because I taught it. But based on what you know about our company, please generate a month's worth of social media posts on the topic of artificial intelligence for legal, healthcare, and small business. And of course, it's very, polite, and it says absolutely can. And what you don't see, of course, is the scrolling and scrolling and scrolling about the high impact social media content. And I do this a lot. So I can create any number of social media content within seconds. It takes like literally seconds to produce this. And it says these posts will allow North Star Technology Group as a thought leader for AI-driven innovation. Builds out a strategy overview, and then will actually spit out this very specific content that you have. Some of the other tools that we use for this and some of the custom stuff that we're building internally for ourselves that soon will be available for our customers is automation between creating this content and then auto posting that stuff to your social media channels. And it's actually using data from your own business. But it's been an absolute lifesaver as far as time. What about Lisa? Lisa's a true strategist stuck in a firefighter's uniform. Lisa's smart, she's experienced, and full of ideas, but she's too busy putting out day-to-day fires to act on any of them. She needs space to think, to plan, to innovate. But every time she opens her laptop, someone's asking, do you have a minute? Spoiler, it's never, ever just a minute. Lisa doesn't need more noise. She needs clarity. And AI can be that brainstorming partner, planner, and sounding board she's been missing. Let's see how AI can help get her back into that strategic mindset without waiting for the stars to align. Lisa's brilliant, but right now she's too busy putting out fires to light any new ones. AI helps her get her groove back, not by doing the thinking for her, but by giving her a space to think clearly. It's like having a business coach who works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, never interrupts you, and doesn't charge $400 an hour. Lisa can use AI to brainstorm new service ideas, test those ideas, map out pitches, and actually hear herself think for the first time since 2019. Let's watch this in action.
This is a quick demonstration of how to use this ChatGPT to act as a thought partner. I prompted it by saying, I'm curious to explore this idea, and I want you to interview me. And after you interview me, I want you to be able to create some clarity in my thinking this week by continuing to ask me more interview questions. I capped this at 3 to make this demo reasonable. So chat apparently is honored to serve, right? So what is one challenge or decision you've been thinking about repeatedly over the last few days? I just said I want to have a summer retreat to show appreciation for our staff. Awesome, right? Showing an appreciation. So when you think about this retreat, what outcomes would make you feel like it was a huge success? What makes it a success? Well, I think people having a chance to relax, be able to bond with coworkers and brainstorm new ideas would make this successful to me. What constraints or realities do you already know of that you'll need to work within? Well, for us, obviously budget is always a concern. We're small business, and the fact that we have staff all over the United States and even overseas can create some challenges for us. So yes, we are aiming to create something that delivers deep connection, right? Even though we have the issue of geography. Given these constraints, are you leaning towards an in-person event or regional or hybrid? For us, we're going to try something hybrid, right? We'll have some people in person, and then we'll have a virtual opportunity for those that can't make it. Yeah, open up inclusivity without losing in-person energy. So what is the tone or vibe you want to create at this retreat? Fun, playful, inspiring vision. Why not all of the above? Full spectrum experience energizes, inspires, and connects people, right? So final question, what kind of time frame are you visioning? A day, a weekend, or a few days? I'm going to say, let's make it a couple days this summer, and that'll give us some time. So here's some information that it pops out, right? We want to be able to do a hybrid summer retreat that honors and appreciates that team works across time zones. And it's asking would I like help with designing the retreat structure, recommending tools, and outlining a communication plan. So I'm going to be greedy and say, I want you to create all of these things. So now it's spitting out the structure, what we're going to do on day one. An agenda, it's going to talk about, all both days agenda. Once it spits out the agenda, it's going to talk about some of the tools and logistics, right? Kind of how we would build this out, how we register, how we do collaboration, what kind of meals we have, and some of the ways that we can do for an in-person team versus the virtual team. It also spits out a communication plan timeframe, what we do 6 weeks before. Those are just some of the ways to prompt and maximize an AI thought partner.
Yeah, and this is just like having a strategist in your pocket. You can brainstorm new offers, pitch decks. Lisa realized that AI isn't just good at writing emails, it's actually thinking with her. She could prompt it with, should I expand to a new market? Or should I finally just fix what's broken in the one I'm in? Or should I outsource this or keep losing sleep over it? AI becomes the sounding board that she doesn't have without the eye rolls, the fees, or telling her to quote, trust the process. It helps her weigh options, play out scenarios, and stop making decisions at 11 p.m. fueled by caffeine and blind hope. And here's where Lisa really starts having fun. She can ask AI stuff like, give me 10 creative ways to grow without hiring 10 more humans. Or what could I offer that makes my competitors cry in the shower? AI throws out ideas. Some are gold, some are wild, but it gets Lisa thinking bigger, faster, and more often, which hasn't happened since before back-to-back Zoom meetings became her love language. But strategy isn't just about ideas, it's also knowing what to measure. Now, Lisa can get serious about what KPIs should I track or stop flying blind? What trends should I actually care about? And which ones can I ignore, like gym spam in January? She can even ask, what should I ask myself when I feel stuck, when I have no idea what to focus on? AI helps her zoom out, prioritize, and stop reacting to everything like it's urgent just because it popped up with a red exclamation mark. And now Lisa can use AI like a personal strategy coach, minus the vague metaphors. What are trends that actually matter in my industry? What KPIs should I be watching? What do I focus on next when everything feels urgent and my brain feels like a browser with 47 tabs open? AI helps get her back, get clear, and make decisions without feeling like she's doing mental gymnastics. Utilizing an AI tool like ChatGPT, or there are others, to as a thought partner allows us to be able to have conversations, gain clarity, build new ideas, expose weaknesses in plans. Uh, all of these things is allowed by being able to have access to this stuff 24/7. But let's meet Eric, right? He's confident, he's competent, and completely unaware of the cyberstorm brewing. Eric believes his business is too small to get hacked. He also believes that email from DocuSign-urgent-client123.exe looks totally legit. And his team doesn't even know what MFA stands for. Some think it's a law degree. There's zero plan for when, if not, breach happens. But here's the kicker. AI can actually prevent some of these messes. It can detect weird logins, can block phishing, and can even coach the team while a threat is unfolding. Because let's be honest, Eric doesn't need a lecture. He needs a digital bodyguard with better instincts than his spam filter. So here's what AI does for Eric, and probably for your business too. First, it watches everything, like a paranoid IT guy who never sleeps. Weird logins, blocked. Suspicious file activity, flagged. Janet's third attempt to open a Dropbox.zip file, shut, period, down, period. It also blocks AI-generated phishing emails. Yes, the bad guys are using AI too. So if you're not, you're basically bringing a butter knife to a cyber knife fight. And when something does happen, AI can coach your team in real time, like a calm voice saying, don't panic, click here, not there. And it's not just defense, it's smart, 24/7, no coffee needed security. Let's take a look at some of the tools that make it possible. These are just a fraction of the tools, right, that are available, but time permitting, EDR, endpoint detection and response, which is like having a cyber watchdog that just never blinks. It spots shady behavior, isolates threats, calls for backup faster than you can say zero-day exploit. Email security tools. These catch the phishing emails that look like they come from your client, but were actually written by a teenager in a basement with a ChatGPT account. And then there's Microsoft Security Copilot, a super smart assistant that helps your IT team detect, respond, and not spontaneously combust during an incident. In short, AI makes your security team look like rock stars, even on a Monday morning. So let's bring this all together by building a step-by-step plan. Let's revisit our all-star cast. Sarah stopped drowning in emails and now leaves work before dark. James went from sales ghost to sales machine without ever touching Canva. Lisa finally escaped her fire drill lifestyle and remembered that she's actually a genius. And Eric, he's no longer one click away from ransomware. He's locked down and sleeping like a cybersecurity baby. And these aren't superhumans. They just stopped trying to do everything the hard way. Now let's talk about your business and how to actually get started with AI, one smart move at a time. No capes, no coding, just real wins for real people. Step one, figure out where it hurts. What's draining your team's will to live? Is it the never-ending email loop, missed follow-ups, support tickets that multiply like gremlins? Don't just start with tools. Start with pain. That's where AI earns its keep. But before you plug in AI, ask, are you ready for it? If your network is held together by duct tape and hope, maybe lock that down first. We always recommend doing a cybersecurity risk check. Know where your sensitive data lives, because adding AI to a mess, that's just a faster mess. Some of the things that I showed you with ChatGPT, you have to be careful by putting personal information in or private business information in, right? Because it is a public AI tool. That doesn't mean it can't be amazing, right? To get clarity and help you with strategic decisions. But you have to be careful. If you're implementing Microsoft Copilot in your environment, that's actually plugging into your data, right? So although that creates a tremendous amount of value, you need to make sure that you have stuff locked down and configured properly with data and files and privacy before you start implementing this stuff. That's where the cybersecurity risk assessment comes in. And step three is, you need to choose the right tools. I don't want you to go full kid in the candy store here, right? Start with tools that actually fit your environment. Again, Copilot is a great example of that if you are using Microsoft. You want to make sure you're picking trusted tools with privacy policies longer than a tweet. And please don't download something just because it had a cool logo. Pilot before you panic. Don't roll out AI company-wide like it's a free pizza party. Pick a small team, a real use case, and see what happens. Select clear goals and not just make everything better magically. One of the first things that we did is we implemented Microsoft Copilot for just a couple of individuals to test the integration with Outlook, to test the integration with Teams. We are working on some custom ChatGPT tools, right, for our specific use case, of which one I'll show you here in a second. But test it and pilot. Use smaller groups of people to make sure that the impact is not widespread if something goes wrong. Train your team. If you skip the step, you'll just have a bunch of AI tools and a very confused staff. Keep training short, sweet, and non-intimidating. Consider a train the trainer model. One brave soul who becomes the in-house AI whisperer, and bonus points for cheat sheets that say, click here, survive. And you wouldn't buy a treadmill and not check if it's helping, right? It's important to measure what matters. And that depends on the pain that you're trying to solve. Maybe it's measuring how much time you're saving, or maybe it's measuring number of leads that you're closing on new business. Maybe you're simply measuring fewer did you follow up on this emails. If you're not tracking the wins, you're never going to scale it. And if it works, do more of it. Expand to other teams, automate more stuff, connect your systems. The goal here isn't to replace your team, it's to turn them into superheroes with laptops. Remember, start small, win big, and repeat until awesome. So, how did we cheat during this presentation? I said that not everything was human. Number one, I utilized AI to help create the outline and the speaker notes. I used AI to generate all of the images in this presentation. None of those are real. And we used AI to actually edit the videos with voiceovers. Those of you that know Noah, who is my son, that is not his real voice. That is an AI generated voiceover. And for those of you that know him, it sounds just like him. One last demo that I want to show you. A lot of the stuff that we're talking about is very, very basic, very, very simple. You're using prompting into public AI to get some really good information and do some Q&A and some clarity. You're using some commercially available AI like Copilot to integrate with your already existing Microsoft tenant and tools that you already use. All really, really, really amazing stuff. But some of the super cool stuff that you can do is actually customization. Here's one that I want to show you.
Automation with artificial intelligence can also be used in a more advanced way. This is a test example designed to read and find certain contract information with an information extractor, and using a ChatGPT model, it formats and messages a summary of the requested items if they exist. It then will upload that to a super-based vector store or update an existing one if it already has been uploaded. So for this example, we're going to go to the web page that we have set up for this. Here, you're able to upload a document and then hit submit. For this example, we have a blank document here. You can also have this set up with, say, something like Teams or Outlook to send you an email or just a Teams message, as well as just a text message or even a call. So after waiting about a minute here, it sends over a message that looks like this, basically going over the information that I've asked it to export from that contract. Another cool thing you can build from this is a chatbot that allows you to get quick answers regarding specific contracts.
Yeah, and that's where we're going with this, right? So we have about 200 customers, right, that we interact with on a daily basis. And oftentimes some of our team is like, what's included in that customer's agreement? Salespeople are like, well, when does the agreement come up for renewal? Billing people want to understand what is included in the invoicing. Utilizing a AI model, we can upload all of our contracts, all of our customer agreements into this tool, right? That's private. This particular one is not a public thing. It is running on our infrastructure within Microsoft Azure, and we can input and enter all of our agreements for all of our customers and be able to ask very, very detailed and specific questions, like show me all of the customers who have renewals this month. For this particular customer, is on-site support included in their agreement? How many users or endpoints are we managing for that customer? Anything that you could possibly think of, you can ask a bot once it's learned your behavior. And this is where AI is really, really, really going to be transformational for businesses. But it all starts with the basics, right? And we've had some laughs, right? We've definitely met some lovable disasters, and hopefully you guys have seen how AI can rescue business from chaos, burnout. But now it's your turn. And if any of you were silently nodding during Sarah's inbox meltdown, or James's sales avoidance issues, or Lisa's strategic identity crisis, or Eric's blissfully ignorant cyber situation, I'd love to talk to you. And I'm offering something simple: 30-minute meeting, no PowerPoint, no pitch deck, no pressure. Just you and I figuring out where AI and possibly smarter security can save time, protect your sanity, and make you look like a genius within your own business. And yes, the cybersecurity risk assessment is part of that. And really, that's the good stuff. That's where we find out the weak spots before the hackers do. And book the meeting. Worst case, you leave with a couple good ideas. Best case, we fix a bunch of things that are quietly killing your team's soul. But seriously, don't ghost me. Book a time. Let's make your business boring in all of the right ways. Thank you. Any questions? Now is the time. The Q&A. Amber's trying to prompt me here. All right. So when using AI for marketing, how do we keep the content sincere and genuine? I find it can be easy to spot the AI generated social media posts. Yeah. In a second. Yes, and I completely understand that, right? Right now, AI is meant to be a partner, right? It's not totally meant to replace you as a human being. With that said, the content is getting better and better and better every single day as these public AI tools start to learn more, right, about human interaction, how people speak. And what's cool is AI can start to learn your speaking style or tone. So the more you interact with your AI models, the more it understands how you speak, the words you use, the phrases you use, the tone that you come across it, right? But until AI has had an opportunity to learn all of that stuff, it's useful, right, to go and review the content before you publish it, right? It still is a massive time saving, right? If you could produce 30 days worth of social media content for your business and all you need to do is review it and put a little bit of a spin on it that makes it sound like you, isn't that time best served? I know it is for us. Do you see a lot of people using Copilot already? If so, what is the most popular use you've seen so far? Yeah, we're definitely seeing a lot of people starting to adopt Copilot. Again, the thing that I always really want to ensure everybody understands is doing or updating your cybersecurity risk assessment prior to implementing Copilot, especially widespread in your organization. Because if say your file permissions on documents that might have sensitive information is not set properly, people that have Copilot could ask questions like, show me all of the salaries for all of my staff, right? And so Copilot is going to look for stuff that that person has permission to see and find it and present it, right? Now, that may be awesome if you have those permissions and are authorized to do that, but you don't want that, right, for the rest of your staff. So having that CSRA and that permissions review is really, really, really important to start. But once you have that down and your stuff is locked down, usually what we see again in for Copilot and some of the easiest things to get use of it first is with Microsoft Outlook and Microsoft Teams. I use Copilot for those two products every single day, and it's been a game changer for us because I can I can review a Teams chat, right? So maybe we have a group chat with 8 to 10 people, right? And they've been going back and forth, right, on this conversation. Who knows what it is? It could be multiple things, right? And I may not have even noticed that this conversation was happening. And go back in it later, right? Well, what's the alternative? I scroll all the way up to the top and read the entire conversation, or I just click on it and say, summarize what you've missed. And it'll literally bullet point all of the items of the conversation that I missed. I can then ask follow-up questions to AI to be like, did they talk about this? What are some questions I should follow up with the group? And it'll teach me and coach me those things. Game changer. Again, the other game changers within Microsoft Outlook, similar functionality, right? I often have group email threads that involve multiple people, reply alls and reply, just directly to the senders. And it could be 5, 10, 15 messages that go back and forth. And I might not see it. Again, I could go through and read every single one of those and try to understand what happened and what the to-dos are, or I could just ask Copilot to be like, what is this conversation about? Literally, you can type that. What are they talking about? And it'll spit out the summary of that conversation. And then as Noah, during his demonstration, you could ask Copilot to help coach a response. Sometimes in the heat of the moment, right? Like you just want to fire off an email, right? Because you're angry at something. You could have you could compose it and then ask Copilot to be like, hey, is this a good response, right? Is this a reply that will get what I'm wanting out of that conversation? And AI will be like, hey, you might want to tone it down, and it'll allow you to change the tone of the messages. We have a lot of people that are techs, right? Maybe they are cold and to the point. AI Copilot for Outlook can allow their conversation styles to maybe more match the C levels that they're working with. We're also seeing more and more of Copilot for your Microsoft Office productivity suite. And that's something that obviously is kind of cool, right? So you could go in Excel and you'd be like, hey, how do I, do some sort of formula to make this table dance and tell the story that we wanted to tell. We're working with both ChatGPT and Copilot, right, to auto generate or auto create presentations. This particular one, Amber did manually, right? But there's a capability within ChatGPT and Copilot to integrate with PowerPoint and be able to auto create a bunch of these presentations, saving tons of time. One of the more advanced applications of AI that we're currently working on internally is the ability to take data from a lot of the reports. So if you guys are a customer of ours, right, like, we got a lot of stuff going on. You got email security reports, you got your SOC reports, your EDR reports, your zero trust, your ring fencing, you've got your phishing simulation testing and your dark web monitoring and like all of these things, right, that we're using to protect your profits and your people. We're going to be utilizing AI to pull all of that report data into a presentation format. So when we do our strategic business reviews, the IT calls that we have, all of that information is created for us. So we don't have to gather the data and format it into a presentation. That's what we're using for it. You guys can use it for your business use case, right? Yeah, presentations you're doing, you have Excel spreadsheets that you're working on, and you have a bunch of data sources, and you want to pull that stuff in and use AI to automate and ease that process. That's what it's for. But again, the first step is making sure you're prepped for it. That QR code again is AI, but that gives you access to my scheduling booking link. For those of you that are customers of ours, you know how to reach me, but that's a great way to block off a specific time for you. And again, there are many tools, right, that are out there that allow you to do this. This one is Calendly. This is a tool that integrates with our Office 365. I can set up different type of booking links that have different rules. I can set it up so it has to ask the person a certain number of questions. We are doing a big push to update cybersecurity risk assessments for customers. So you're going to be hearing from our teams regarding getting these rescheduled, and we'll be utilizing these booking links for the presentations and the findings and the recommendations. You guys can use this stuff too, right, for your customers. When having a small team test AI, how do you decide who should be on that team? Yeah, that's a good question. For us, it's really going to be about people that are somewhat early adopters of things, right? They're naturally curious about stuff. And you know who those people are on your team, right? Like there's a curve of this, right? And there's a group of people, a small number of the general population, which probably applies to your business, right? That are like, I want to try this thing, right? Like they're just so hungry to learn something or to try something new, right? And those are early adopters. And I know you probably have a group of those people on your team right now. Those are the perfect individuals to get involved in this, right? Because number one, they're hungry to learn something new. Number two, they are open and not negative, right, about the possible outcome, right? They want to see success. And so find those group of people, right? And also within that subset, right, you're going to want to find people that are natural leaders, right? They have an influence maybe within your organization. People listen to them. If they decide, hey, there's a new restaurant in town, they could convince almost everybody to go there, right? Because that's the type of people they are. Those are ideal for this. Obviously, you want to make sure that it is managed and controlled, and that's why the question is good, because it really makes a difference to make sure that you keep your pilot small. But good question. For us, it also helped to incorporate the individuals that are kind of ultimately responsible for the areas that we're using AI, right? As either a thought partner or as an automation tool. So the agent bot that we're working on to analyze customer agreements and allow us to ask questions to that. Obviously, I'm part of that, right? Amber is part of that. And the reason why maybe we don't involve somebody else is because they have no need, right? They don't care what's in the contracts per se. So being relevant to the function the pain that you're trying to fix matters. It's really no different than setting up a committee, right? And you want to have representation from as many people as you can for this, because ultimately it's about identifying your pain and then being able to find a tool, test it, and be able to train others on how to use it. We're almost at the top of the hours. Again, so you're going to get an email follow-up here. that will have the recording for this so you can share it with others. Um, uh, book a meeting and we could do more in-depth demos. I know sometimes it's hard in a PowerPoint presentation to kind of show the value. Even when we're using this whole summer retreat theme throughout all of these demonstrations, being able to see it in more expansive form, where you experiment with more and more elaborate prompting. I mean, I've done silly personal prompting. I did a demo where I was like, hey, I'm a 53-year-old male and I want to compete at 250 pounds bodybuilder by next March. Ask me some questions and spit out a diet and nutrition and workout plan for me, right? Um, I've done, hey, my daughter is applying for a job at Sprouts. Act as the CEO of Sprouts and tell me, what are some questions that she may get, and what are some of the questions that she should ask, right? It's all about, being able to have solid prompting. So I'd love to meet with you and to talk through some more of that stuff, in more detail and kind of talk about what we're doing and how AI could help within your organization. Yeah, and it's really honestly a time game changer. All right. If nobody has any other questions, oh yeah. So Amber, yeah. So part of the part of the email that you're going to get, we'll have the recording, right, of the event, but also there will be a link to what we're calling the self-threat score. It's a pretty much a people-free external assessment of cybersecurity for your organization. And again, it's not even close to matching the need that you need for internal privacy analysis, right, and cybersecurity within the environment. But if you just enter in a few things, right, it'll give you a little bit of an external cyber score, a threat score, and that's a good place to start, right? It's going to check stuff like dark web, compromised credentials, some email security, some external ports, which is just step one, right, of a cybersecurity risk assessment. For those of you guys that are customers of ours, we will be redoing cybersecurity risk assessments. Honestly, they're starting right now. We've got probably at least 20 that are in the pipeline, and we're going to be doing everybody by the end of 2025. And of course, a big reason is threats are always changing. We are always having to evolve, how we deal with it. But you guys are asking for AI, right? Everybody's asking for AI, and we want to make sure that you guys are ready for it. All right. If nobody has any other questions, it's exactly the top of the hour. We finished exactly on time. I appreciate everybody joining. Hopefully this was useful. We're going to be doing this every single month, and the content's going to possibly change. There's going to be some new demos and different things. So check us out. Every Thursday at this time, we are also doing cybersecurity briefings. And these are what's new and happening in cybersecurity. It's kind of interesting. What are some of the hacks that are happening? Who's got breached? What could they have done to prevent it? And those of you that are healthcare customers, we're going to be doing a compliance workshop here coming up on May 8th, I think it is, or May 9th. It's Thursday, whatever that date is. And we're going to be talking about the new HIPAA compliance rule. And Mark Schlater from Due North Information Security will be joining me, and we're going to be chatting about that fun topic. So lots of stuff. Follow us on social media as well. We have lots of educational content on AI, cybersecurity, and just business technology. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate your time.